Hello, this is Ben Ryder from the Academy of Gaming Film and Animation, and today what we're looking at is how to adjust the player blueprint. So far we've looked at how to adjust or how to create this fire blueprint here so that when the player walks into it, a fire starts, and we've also looked at how to create a street light where it swaps out the mesh from one mesh to the next so it creates a light turning on. So just as a quick demo of that, here is the fire one, and then I move away, turns off, and here is the street light that turns on and off. So today we're going to look at, okay, how can we actually change the variables or the blueprint within the character blueprint. So for example, if I go here to my content browser, I go third person BP for blueprint, blueprints, and click on this one. How can I change some of the things in here? And so this should give you an idea of exactly how complicated some of these blueprints can get. And this is a character blueprint, but they can get more complicated from here. But what we're going to look at today is how to create this, which is going to start off with pressing E once will simulate the character to go to ragdoll, and then pressing it again will spawn a different actor that our character will possess. So it's basically going to destroy our character and then respawn it. So it's going to be a simple kill script and restart script. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and delete all this, and then we're going to go through this step by step. So far what we've looked at is an event being started by the collision. That is the player colliding with something that starts an event. But now what we're going to look at is an input. So because this is a character, they already have input enabled, and they're in fact taking all these different inputs. So we don't need to worry about that. We can just press in here any key on the keyboard. I'm going to go with E, and then type in key. And then I can see this capital letter with this keyboard symbol beside it, and that's just the E key. So just as a very simple one, I'm just going to start it and build it up from there. We're going to go from here to E to simulate physics, and we're going to go to simulate all bodies physics mesh. Go here to mesh, and then I'm just going to change the collision here, if I haven't already, to ragdoll. And that's just going to make it so that when we and then I've got to check that box there. So basically I'm going to press E and it's going to simulate physics. So to give that a try, E, there we go, simulates physics. Can do it mid-stride as well, there it goes, cool. So that's pretty simple. But now we need to set up the respawn, that is what happens afterwards so that our character actually respawns. So I'm going to put in what's known as a flip-flop. These are very useful nodes. Basically it means that if you press it once it does something, and if you press it again it does something else. So I'm going to go down here and go to respawn, no actually, sorry, it's spawn actor from class. Now what this means is that all of these things that we've been talking about before, the light, the fire, everything, they are now classed as actors. So this is no different. We're going to go here and we're going to type in third person character because that's what we want it to spawn, and then we also want it to possess. So I'm going to switch off context sensitive here and go possess. So it's going to possess, so it's going to possess whatever is spawned here, in this case the third person character. So now we just need to say, it's saying here you need a specified transform, so we need to get it from somewhere. So I'm actually just going to go from this actor and get actor transform. And we're going to get actor, I'm actually going to get world transform, sorry. So world transform. So what is a world transform? And what is an actor transform? Well, in the world, if I select any object, I will see these transforms. It's basically its location in the world, its rotation, and its scale. So basically what this is doing now is saying this will take on the transform of the actor, because it's the self, and go from there. And I think that we go mesh. Yeah, so it's going to get the world transform of the mesh and put it into there. So that's just deciding where it's going to spawn from. So there's also target needs a connection. So possess, this needs to possess with something, and that something is going to be the character controller. So doesn't have the player controller. So if it doesn't have a player controller to control it, it won't actually work. So let's see how this goes. So E, go to simulate, spawn actor, or transform, should respawn. So going in here, E, and I press again, and unfortunately, it just goes to the bottom there. And unfortunately, because it's got the transform of the mesh, it's actually taking the ragdoll of the mesh, which I don't want it to do. So I'm not going to use the mesh, I'm instead going to use the capsule component and spawn from there. That's much better. So this is good because now I can die as many times as I need to and still be safe. So that's a lot of fun, this one. So just to reiterate what I did then to change, I don't want it to spawn from the mesh because the mesh has turned to ragdoll, and the transform means that the rotation and scale will be different there. So I just want to go from the capsule. The capsule is this device here that when it ragdolls, it won't ragdoll unfortunately, not in here, but when it does, this capsule is kind of left behind. And that's where we're respawning our character to adjust it. So anyway, that's all I wanted to look at in this one here. I'm just going to go through it again, just for good measure. We press E, we go to flip-flop, that simulates all physics bodies. We then take the mesh, which is this guy, into there. Then with this one, we go spawn actor, and then we chose third person character, so that's the same one that this one is here, so it's going to respawn this. We then possessed it, we made sure that the player controller is plugged into there, and the return value from this, which is the third person character, is what it's possessing. And then we get the Capsule Collision, which is this one here, and we get the world transform to give it a spawn location. And that allows us that when we press this, my capsule is here, you can see it's still moving around. If I press E again, it's just there. So if I jump off the edge here, then I'm going to keep falling as well. Anyway, that's all for today, and we will see you next time.